Hey, how's it going? Mike Giannoulis here with onlyonemike.com. I'm here to teach you about copywriting example. Anyway, what we're going to do here in this video here, we're going to go through 3 different copywriting examples so you can see copy, see how it's done, see the way that it's written. I'm going to break it down some too. I'll show you kind of how the copy was created, and more importantly, why. You should be able to take some of this info and put it to use in your own copywriting if that's what you would like to do. What we're going to do in this, we're going to go over, as I said, the 3 different examples that you can use to kind of learn so you can get a feel for how to write different types of copy. So we're going to start with looking at this old school traditional sales piece by a guy named Gary Halbert. If you've not checked him out, definitely make sure you do that. He's got a great site up called the Halbert Letters. I'll link to that as well. Definitely a great read. He passed away, I want to say back in like 2008 or 9, sometime back then. But just he was incredible. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at this, and this is probably what you think about when you think about copywriting, like from the traditional direct response set. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through this first piece, and we'll break it down some. So this is a piece by Gary called the Facelift in a Jar ad. Okay, so this kind of give you an example of what a traditional direct response sales page would look like. You've probably seen it before. I'm also getting all this from the site swipe.co, which is an incredible resource. All right, so this is the sales piece. So we'll focus mainly on the headline and the lead, which is kind of the first part. And we'll kind of break down, perhaps why he chose the things that he did. Also, you got to keep in mind that this was written, quite some time ago. Like, I mean, you can see this is like 1981. So a lot of this now may seem kind of old and sort of like over the top. Back then, it was more new, and people weren't doing things like this yet. So that's the first thing that you have to learn is your copy is always going to be changing with the times, right? Okay, so now at last you can get it too. The amazing facelift in a jar used by Hollywood stars who lose their job if they don't look their best. All right, so a couple things here. One, we start with now at last you can get it too. What's this doing? This is making a benefit promise that you can get something. It's also stoking curiosity. You can get it too. Get what? Right? So this kind of draws you in some. Odds are your eyes are going to read this first, which is cool because this kind of builds as a secondary promise that you can get what this promises. So if you read this first, you'll be curious to read the headline. This is called a pre-headline. If you read this first, you'll want to know get what, and so you'll read this. If you read the headline first, then you'll jump up and read this and be like, oh, cool, I could get this too. And now at last, which is like you've been waiting forever for this, right? And then you have this sort of descriptive word, amazing. As I said, these days we don't, this is kind of like, a little bit too much, so to speak, but it's not that bad. And then we have facelift in a jar. Facelift in a jar, and you'll notice he put this in quotes, right? So why is it in quotes? Because he wants this to stand out. This is what we would call a unique mechanism. Like this is a unique way to solve the problem. All right, so facelift in a jar, we kind of all know if you're going to get a facelift, it's going to have to be getting surgery, and they're going to be chopping you up, they're going to be pulling on things and poking you and stuff. Well, this is a cool because it's like, wow, I can get a facelift just right from a jar. That makes me assume I'm just going to be able to scoop my hand in and put this thing on my face, and wow, I'm gonna change, right? So that is a very strong promise, and it's a very strong visual that you're getting this facelift in a jar. See, you may not really believe it, right? Because proof is such an important piece of being able to sell things. So if you don't believe it, well, then what are you gonna do? Well, what Gary chose to do was use Hollywood stars because as he points out, if these people don't look good, they're literally going to lose their jobs. Like, what are they going to do, right? They're out of a job. So this is a proof formula. So you have sort of your promise that you're going to get this facelift in a jar, and then you have the proof backing it up. And proof comes in many different ways. There's many different types of proof. This particular proof is sort of an authority proof. So the authority being Hollywood stars. Now, if they were selling something else, maybe not. Maybe I don't really believe them. But the fact that they're selling this facelift in a jar makes sense to me because they have to look their best. If they don't, they're not going to get that job. So we'll just spend a little bit more time on this and then we'll jump over. You can kind of see where your eye goes to next. You're not, necessarily where would your eye go. You would read this headline, maybe read this right after, and then probably you'll read this next. So Ernest Borgnine, forgive me if I'm not saying his name right. I believe he was an actor back in the day. If he was, tell me. I was actually born right after this, so I wasn't even quite born yet. So forgive me for that. But he basically says, I have not had a facelift. The only reason I look younger today than I did 10 years ago is because of what my wife has discovered. So, the word discovered, very strong copywriting power word. It's been around forever. Because when you discover something, it's like you chanced upon it. And it gives this hint that you're going to, share this discovery. And he's basically, again, his testimonial is, again, more proof, saying, look, I look younger now than I did 10 years ago. And it's because, what my wife found is not because I had a facelift. So he's really, going hard at this angle again. I wouldn't be surprised if Gary wrote this and just had Ernest sign off on it. So yeah, sure, that's fine, Gary. And you'll see kind of down here, have you seen Tova Borgnine lately? She really looks great. In fact, according to her husband, Ernest, Tova now has the skin of a teenager. Again, what is this? A promise. What do women want? They want to look like a teenager, maybe without the acne, but they want that younger skin. And what about Ernie himself? His friends were saying he looks 10 years younger now than he did 10 years ago. Actually, he looks so good, many of his co-stars have accused him of having a facelift, right? Not just brought up, they've accused him, right? Like he looks so good that they're accusing him of a facelift. That's a pretty big deal. But Ernie hasn't had a facelift, and neither has his wife. Both of them, however, do have a certain little secret. Okay, so again, people love secrets. They love this idea that this Hollywood star discovered this magical cream that's like a facelift in a jar. Right? We won't go off here, but again, you're going to see now that they're going to break down more and more as to what the product is, what it does, how it works, and then more social proof. Here's all these people saying how great it is, right? And then here's your call to action. These are some of the components of a great sales piece, right? So that is just a quick breakdown of one of the copywriting examples, which is the Gary Halbert piece. Obviously, we spend a lot more time on it, but there's 3 of them that I want to go through. That was only the first one, so I want to jump back over here. All right, so we covered that one. What I want to do now, I want to look at another industry, okay? And this is going to give you sort of a different viewpoint. We're going to look at a credit industry or credit reporting. This is more of an ad, and it's a Facebook ad. So the first one was more the traditional sales page, longer form. This would have been in a newspaper. And I will say one thing: notice that it's written in the third person, so it's not coming from Tova, it's not coming from Ernest, it's coming from sort of this third party, almost like an article was written about it to appear to be news. You'll notice back then they didn't make you say it, but now they do. It would say advertorial up here or sponsored or something like that. They didn't have that back, yet. I think Gary actually invented this whole entire style. But anyway, let's look over here at this Facebook ad. So if you're going to write copy, this is another copywriting example of something that you may write someday. So You can see with a Facebook ad, the way that it's broken down is you've got your company name here, you've got your logo right up here, and then you have what is basically the post info. So this is the post info. You've got your image. This is your, and on Facebook ads, your image is really everything. It's what really drives the people to stop and pause and actually click on your ad. Big key is right here, image. So that they test a lot of these out. You can kind of see even here, there's different types of images that are there. And then down below here, you have your headline, and then you have your description. These days, Facebook has actually kind of pulled descriptions out. They're not there that much. So there's actually a lot more going on here than you would first think. So let's just kind of quickly dive into the copy. All right. So you would kind of be scrolling. You're on Facebook. And you're like, oh, 740. What's this? 740 FICO score. You see Experian, so you see the brand. One thing I don't necessarily like. Oh, let me hide this so I can kind of show the full ad. One thing I kind of don't like about this ad is that this blue is very like matching the Facebook look, but they make up for it by putting in this red. So that red will really contrast with the Facebook look, right? So that's kind of why they did that, because they could have made this blue and this white, and then we're just kind of meshed right in. So that's an important thing when you're creating ads. You want to make sure that your copy stands out. So you can see by the use of the red font, it stands out, which is what I think this ad will get more clicks than the ad here, because you've got this kind of like all you have is this one red spot in the white text. To me, that fades in. If you picture the way Facebook looks, you'll kind of see that this stands out way more than this. So you can see here the headline is just "See Your Credit Now." So this I'm focusing on the way you'd probably experience the ad. You'd probably see this first, and you probably look down, "See Your Credit Now." Find out now for $1 when you enroll in Experian Credit Tracker. So this is a direct ad. They're going right at it. Find out for $1, right? They're just saying, like, it's $1. Get your credit score. See where you're at. Now, obviously, there's a trial. I'm sure there's more to pay. You probably upsell, and they'll say, get all 3 scores, or get this done, or get on our program. But they're confident enough to go after you for that $1 just to get you to try it out. And there's a little bit of aspiration there in that they're showing a 740, which is a pretty good, probably above average score. So obviously they want you to think maybe that'll be me. Maybe I'll get that score. So see your credit now. Good headline. Kind of neat that they didn't capitalize your credit now. I usually do. Yeah, that'll be something just to kind of test out. But again, a very clear offer, right? See your credit now. Not a lot more to it to say than that. And then at the end, you'd probably either click on the ad or maybe you would read up here the sort of post info. So good rates go to strong credit scores. Check your FICO score with enrollment in Experian Credit Tracker. So right then and there, again, this is a very, very straight up offer. They're not trying to hide the ball here. They're not like trying to give away a report or teach you about credit. They're just saying, want your score, click here now, get your score. You can read what these comments were. So find out now or see yours now is used in all their ads. The idea of finding out immediately is enticing, and having an example makes you wonder how you compare. So that's kind of neat. So this is editor's comments that pretty much all their ads are like, find out now, see yours now. That's important because that's giving an immediate call to action. We call those CTAs. A call to action is very, very important because people need to be told what to do. If anything, I would bet you they would get more clicks if they added that. Click here now. Click here now. Or click now to enroll for $1. I would test out things like that because people need to be told specifically what to do. So you can see here, sort of same thing. What's your FICO score? That's that question based. Like they're saying, they're asking a curiosity because you're like, hey, what's my score? And you see that this is 693. That's not a terrible score, but it's not a great score. Are you better than that? Are you under that? Where are you at? And the good kind of adds to that. Here's one more ad here that we'll go through. You can see. Let me hide this, get this out of the way. FICO scores are used in 90% of credit decisions. See yours now with enrollment and Experian Credit Tracker. So again, no hiding the ball here. They're very, very direct with what they want you to do. They want you to get your score. Here they're teaching you how important it is. Like, you need to know your FICO score because they're used in 90% of credit decisions. That's like 9 out of 10, right? And here's a little bit more detail. What's your FICO score? Again, that curiosity question. Get your $1 credit report and FICO score with enrollment and Experian Credit Tracker. Monitor your credit 365 days a year and get alerts of potential signs of fraud and identity theft. So you can see here, this is getting a little bit wide with their benefits. So, but this gives you an example of what could be different ads that you could run. So you could run the FICO score ad. You could also test the fraud ad. You could also test an identity theft ad. This is an example that I like to talk about expanding your product to different audiences. So as someone that writes copy, you're going to want to be able to test out different audiences with these different angles and these hooks. So this could say, like, instead of saying what's your FICO score, you could say, here's how to prevent credit card fraud, whatever. And then you could say for only $1, you can prevent credit card fraud, and you can get your credit report, your FICO score, and deal in identity theft protection, right? So it's a same exact offer. You're just tweaking the stack and the order in which the stack is experienced. All right. So then again, you'll see here they chose a different image, which is kind of just again building the curiosity. Like, what is all this info? They have all this on me, right? That's kind of just built in that curiosity there. All right, so let's wrap up here. We have one more ad to run through. Hope you're enjoying this. So we kind of ran through that one. Now, what I want to do now, I want to look at one more sort of type of ad that you might run, which is an email, right? So this is good. This is a sort of famous email by best-selling author and business consultant guru Dan Kennedy. He writes a lot of these sort of old-fashioned stuff too. He's been around forever. I thought he was dead a while back, but he wasn't. He's pulled out of it. Thank God for that. I got to meet Dan in an event in Cleveland, and he made fun of my jeans and said that he needed to help me because my jeans were ripped up. So he kind of poked fun at me for the jeans my wife had picked out. But all right, so this is a sales email that he wrote. So you've got your subject line. This probably isn't for you. What do we call that? We call that a takeaway. You're scrolling through your inbox and it's like, this probably isn't for you. And you're like, what is it? Why is it not for me? It's crazy how we are as people, but instantly by just seeing this, if you're interested in this stuff, especially because you would recognize who it was from, you're not really cold on his database, you would be like, well, wait, Dan, you're not sure. I might be, you know. So he begins, a few days ago, I wrote to you about my influential communication and writing product. This was a workshop that cost $10,000 a head to attend and sold out fast. Why? Good question. And I'll try to explain this in a brief yet necessarily explanatory way. So what did he do here? A few things. He's reminding you that he wrote you about a product or a course or a seminar type thing that he had. He wanted to quickly then hit it in your mind, the cost, because you're going to compare this 10,000 bucks is now an anchor. You've anchored 10 grand in your mind as the value. And not only that, at 10,000 a head, it sold out fast. That means there's competition. That means there's scarcity. That means there's urgency. Like, people wanted this so bad that they paid 10,000 bucks for it each, and it sold out really fast. Now, of course, he's going to answer you, why did it sell out so fast, right? You're just not sure. So he's going to explain it in a brief yet necessary way. See, conventional teaching amongst info marketing gurus readily market the idea of building a herd or list, as they call it, which is a mental mistake, which is mental mistake number one, and then earning $1 per person on that list per month. It's an attractive concept. So anyway, I won't go into it. He's just teaching here. He's sort of like teaching some info. They call this soft teaching, where you're giving some info, but you're not diving in. So then he kind of pivots and starts to sort of make fun of people. They're selling the easy button, and it's not until you press the thing and nothing happens that you realize that the button ain't working. Right? So he talks and writes just like he would. He writes just like he would talk. Even for those small few who it does work for, it doesn't work well. $1 per person per month, those numbers are downright embarrassing, and I envy these gurus' ability to get up in the morning with a straight face and sell this dream. This year, my herd will be worth approximately $141 per person, or 12 times that of conventional wisdom. So here, he's basically saying, look, they're telling you you can earn $1 per name on your list. Well, I earn 141 bucks. So, I mean, that's 12 times more. They say 12 bucks a year. I say I make 141. So obviously, what's he doing here? He's saying, listen, you can follow them or you can follow me. They make $1 a month. I make, 12 bucks a month. Who would you want to follow? And here's what they say is a very, very bold statement. Look at what everyone else is doing, then do the opposite. Has never been more appropriate. So he's speaking out and saying, like, doing the opposite can usually create a better outcome. So how, year in and year out, do I take a person's other work terribly hard to pry a measly 12 bucks from and have them shoving fistfuls of cash in my direction? Well, guess what? It's not with an easy button. So if that's what you're into, this probably isn't for you. Boom. Well, what do we have here? We have the payoff of the subject line. So this probably isn't for you. And he uses this sort of tactic that I've seen used a lot, and it does work a lot, which is basically making it sound like you have to be stupid to think this way. So if you think there's an easy button and you want the easy way out, this is not for you. If you hate puppy dogs and you worship Satan, then this probably isn't for you, right? Like, no one feels like that's them. No one really sits there and says, I just want the easy button and that's it. I want to press it and I want to make some income, right? They don't really feel that way, but this gives them an agreement. So he's kind of got you to agree with him. And secondly, he's coming across very honest, very real. Like, look, there's no way, there's no easy path, right? You have to put in some work. And now he's going to move into what his system does, right? So his system, it builds a loyal, incredible herd of raving fans. It isn't easy, it's complex, but it is replicatable, so that's great. So, and then he gives some examples, right? This guy Bill has done it in the insurance industry. Craig has done it in real estate. Dr. Dustin's done it for dentists. Mike McGordy's done it in home gardening. Why did he put this here? Because right after we talked about how it's not easy and it's complex, but it's something that you can do, instantly you were hit with doubt. You're like, yeah, Dan, but you're like a genius, you're a guru, and you're selling to business owners, and I'm not. I'm selling to, like, grandmas who want to learn to knit, right, or whatever. So he quickly hit that hard and was like, no, this works for people in insurance and real estate and dentists and home gardening, for God's sake, so it can work. It didn't happen by accident. They certainly didn't do it by pressing an easy button. They did it by following a rigid set of proven guidelines, practices, and strategies. And that's what you'll get when you invest in influential writing, communication, and writing. So then he kind of moves into the offer and talks about how, it ain't going to be cheap, but valuable things never are. It's worth it. Notice he doesn't go into the price here. The only thing he does is sort of set it up so that you kind of understand it's not going to be dirt cheap. There's a price to be paid. So that's building up some curiosity. And if you remember going way, way back, you're expecting, what, 10,000 bucks. I can't click it because this is like old, but what I would bet that was way less than 10,000 bucks now for just the course and the recording. So let's see what he says here, kind of in the PS. So he gives a timeline here. If you invest by midnight, you're gonna get all these bonuses. That's again for urgency and scarcity. They're pretty valuable. So you want to push and go do it now, right? Again, when's the best time to buy? Now. Because people, if they wait, they don't buy. P.S. This is, of course, covered by the 365-day double guarantee, so there's zero risk in this for you. Get it, use it for a full year, and then decide if it's right for you. So literally, he's making it so you just buy it and try it and see. And I don't know the details of the double guarantee, but I would assume it sounds like you would get paid back twice what you paid for it, which is incredible. And that's going to show how confident he is in his ability to pull this off, that you'll love the program and the product. I mean, this email is so good. I actually have this course, and now like I want to go through it again. It's been quite some time, so it's like right over there in my shelf. So I need to pull this thing up again because man, he's very, very confident in this program. Okay, so that's a third example. That's an email. So you kind of have seen now how to break down emails. You've seen examples of an email. You've seen an example of a Facebook ad in an old school sort of advertorial ad. So the truth is there's so many different types of copy. We're just scratching the surface here. If you want more, go check out my blog at onlyonemike.com. I have tons of advice on copywriting. If you're a business owner, I've got a ton on that as well, about how to scale, how to grow. If you scroll down, you can actually link right over to my copywriting section, and you'll see where I have like just a ton of free content on writing. I mean, like 6 or more pages of stuff. It's all free. It's all about writing copy. Same thing if you wanted some business info. Oh yeah, also I have, this is free. You don't even have to opt in. If you're trying to write copy and you don't want to like start from scratch, you just want to like not have to think about it. You just want to, what I call, obliterate the blank page. Just go to my site, scroll down just a little bit, and you can click right here, and you'll be taken right in. You can download the ebook, and there's also an audio transcript, and there's an audio of the actual book, or of me talking about the book. So you get like, I mean, it's a good little chunk of stuff there. It's all free. You don't have to even opt in. Enjoy that, and if you get a chance, and you would sign up for my Scale Up newsletter, that would be awesome. Hope you enjoyed this. Like, share, comment, subscribe. If you have questions, as I say, put them down below. Would love to help out, love to answer them. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and make it a great day. Bye-bye.